Alright everyone, let's take another back-to-back look at this sidearm, and today we're going to pair an entire build together with it for an ultra-potent combination. And in that classic Warlock fashion, we've got insane synergy and wild uptime on your abilities. Is this the new Solar Warlock perfected? Hey, you tell me down below in the comments. We're also taking advantage of the new mods they added in Act 2, but using some of those original ones as well to just amplify the build. Now, let's start with the star of the show, a top 3 favorite exotic of mine, Dawn Chorus. It's been on the channel before, but we're going to cover everything again. The armor perk is Rites of Ember. Your Daybreak projectiles deal more damage and scorch targets on impact. Your Scorch is improved and you gain a small amount of melee energy when your Scorch damages a target. Very, very strong. There's just full solar synergy here. Now you can use Daybreak, but we'll be using Song of Flame as that's just a very strong option, and the Scorch on Song of Flame will be improved here as well. Now, like I said, that's huge because when you go all in on the base solar kit, you can improve that Scorch to just ludicrous levels, guys. For the Scorch, we'll be using Ember of Char and Ember of Ashes. This basically will improve all of your Scorch and ignitions from any source with Ember of Char, and Ember of Ashes lets you add more Scorch stacks from any source as well. Like I said, weapons, abilities, your super, anything will work. These two in tandem, along with an ability perk, or artifact perk, later on, let you proc ignitions at will, which will chain off one another, just cycling back, boom, 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 ignition after ignition. Insane. We'll also be using, of course, Ember of Benevolence. This will synergize with our Aberrant Action, Heal Clip, and Candescent. Ember of Benevolence will give us all 3 of our abilities back on a lowered cooldown when we proc Heal Clip. But shout out Phoenix Dive. You also cure nearby allies when you use Phoenix Dive, something we'll be doing a lot with this build, so we're going to use it here. For the last fragment, we'll be using Ember of Empyrean. This will let us extend Restoration and Radiant whenever we proc it, either by grabbing an orb or Phoenix Diving. Of course, for the melee, we'll be using Incinerator Snap and Fusion Grenades. Aspect-wise, we're going to go with Touch of Flame to improve that grenade, as well as Heat Rises. This is very, very important. Heat Rises lets you hold to eat your grenade and proc the buff Heat Rises. When you're airborne, Final Blows will extend the duration of Heat Rises and grant chunks of melee energy. Very, very strong. The melee regeneration here is huge. So, of course, combining Heat Rises with Ember of Benevolence and Dawn Chorus for that improved Scorch and melee on Scorch, you basically have infinite Incinerator Snap melees, which Scorch targets, start ignitions, improve all your abilities, and this is not even accounting for the weapons. Now, the super is up to you. You can use Song of Flame, or if you want to full synergize with Dawn Chorus, slap on Daybreak. Either one is up to you. Now, we need to touch on some of these artifacts as well. I want to touch on them because they are very integral to the build, but hey, if you stop right here, you're done, and that's a very strong build. But these artifacts are here, they're temporary, but they do take a lot of builds to the next level, so let's touch on them. We'll be using Solar Fulmination. Your ignitions do increased damage in an increased radius. Very, very potent, and this is the icing on the cake for those ignitions. Fulmination, Char, and Ashes in combination lets you just proc auto ignitions over and over and over again, chaining off one another. Extremely strong, and I want you guys to use it here. Of course, we need Radiant Orbs. This is going to give us our Radiant, and that's the reason we don't need it in the subclass. When you pick up an Orb of Power while you're on a Solar or Prismatic subclass, you get Radiant for free. And we'll be making tons of orbs, so we've got Radiant basically 100% of the time. We'll also be using Shield Crush. When you're amplified or Radiant, your grenade recharges faster and deals increased damage. This is just increased regeneration for our melee, grenade, and our solar class ability. Very, very strong, and they all just chain off one another, refunding each other, so you can spam these, please, go at your will. And I also want to touch on Sniper's Meditation as well as Incendiary Rifle rounds. We won't be taking advantage of them in this build, but if you want to use something like Whisper of the Worm in your heavy slot, I highly recommend it. It's very, very strong. Now, weapon-wise, our heavy slot is taken up by Dragon's Breath, and I want to just touch on some of the synergy here as well. When you use Dragon's Breath in combination with Dawn Chorus, that Scorch on the rocket is improved by your helmet, leading to multiple ignitions per rocket. And of course, that's leading to tons of extra damage. Very, very strong, and this works no matter what's going on. Whatever artifact or mods are in the season, this is always going to work. So I've been using it for a long time, and I recommend you try it too. But this is a sniper rifle season, so Whisper of the Worm is pretty cracked right now, and it also scorches. So hey, try out what you want. I'm going to shift over here to the mods, and it's very, very simple. I want to shout out the gloves here though, as I went with an impact induction here, as well as a heavy-handed. This will grant orbs of power on those melee kills, which we'll be getting all of the time, of course, and impact induction. This will reduce our grenade cooldown when we get damage with a powered melee. Just cycling back and forth, of course, 100% uptime on all our abilities, as well as crazy strong damage with our aberrant action, which will heal us, refund abilities, Scorch, Ignite, which refunds abilities, guys, back into the crazy cycle. It's very, very strong. Powerful attraction here on the bond, just so when we do use our Phoenix Dive, we'll grab even more orbs that we create. We don't necessarily have to run over them, we can just dive to the ground, and it'll grab what's nearby. And that's basically it, everyone. The build loop is simple. When you see a stronger enemy, you want to hold down to eat your grenade, Incinerator Snap on top of them, and then instantly Phoenix Dive. If they're in the radius, that will proc an instant ignition 100% of the time. And if they're not dead from that, basically slay out with your aberrant action, and you'll have Restoration Radiant active 100% of the time, Heal Clip, which will refund your abilities, and you can just spam them out at will, everybody. It's a very, very potent build, and it's been in the game for a while, but all of these mods and the new addition of aberrant action was just the icing on the cake. It took this build to the next level. So please, try everything you see here. There's a bit going on, but if you need to watch it back, I highly recommend trying this build out. Let's check out some gameplay though.
No regrets on that one. Well fought. Remind me to bring you along the next time I feel like brawling.
Wow, everybody. Once you get this build going, you're basically unstoppable. All of those abilities coming back instantly, letting you refresh your health with Phoenix Dive, Restoration, Radiant, Ignitions out the wazoo, Scorch, your super coming back. It's just unbelievable. And shout out Aberrant Action. This is what set everything off. A solar rocket assisted frame with heal clip and incandescent is just perfect synergy. This is the linchpin right here. This is what makes a lot of it possible for me. Heal clip with Ember of Benevolence, that ability regeneration is unreal. Having that with heat rises chunks of melee energy back. Dawn Chorus, that gives you even more melee back for scorching things, which you're doing with the gun, your abilities, Phoenix Dive once you get it going. It's truly just bonkers. Now for the heavy slot, it's even better because you've got great damage. Whisper or Dragon's Breath and you're good to go. A very, very, very strong build that I'll be using a lot throughout this season. They gave us these solar style mods, and it's going to be a solar and sniper rifle season with these for here on out. So, hey, let's lean into it. Why not? Thank you all so much for watching to the end of the video, and I really appreciate you getting this far. If you're not a subscriber and you've watched this far, hey, you might as well subscribe at this point. You're basically a part of the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you're not and you think this content is deserving, hey, feel free to and share this channel with your friends and family, of course. It goes a long way to growing the channel, and I really want to say thank you. All the growth in the past year of the channel being here has been amazing, and I'm just very appreciative, 100%. We're not going anywhere, and we're going to keep grinding. Tons of videos are in the pipeline, and if you want to see any other things I haven't covered, comment them down below and I'll be sure to cover them. Thank you all so much for watching, and hey, I'll see you around later.